Wealth Team and I are excited that you've chose to join us here this week on Retiring Well. We are hoping to give you some great information. So starting off the show, we're going to be talking about strategies to help you become debt-free. Interest rates are rising and how some potential things you can be looking at to get that debt paid off. Then we're going to be diving into what Warren Buffett said that has an interesting quote out there about we're going to find out who's been swimming naked when the tide goes out. Fun topic, and what does that mean when it potentially is your financial future? Then we're going to be talking about factors that determine your financial future. What are some things that are happening today that are going to have lasting long-term impacts on that? And finally, to wrap up the show this week, tax breaks for seniors. Is there anything out there that you can be using to maximize tax breaks either today or something down the road that can put you in a better tax situation? All this and so much more this week coming right at you on Retiring Well.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well, plan to retire well.
According to a recent survey done back in January of 2023 by AARP's Financial Security, they found that 41% of people are in a situation where they have unmanageable debt. Now, that primarily affects those in the age groups of the 30s and 40s age range. However, that study also found that some 31% of those age 60 and above suffer from that unmanageable debt as well. So what are some of those common forms of debt that those age 60 and above have, and how can we go about minimizing or reducing those debt obligations? So some of those forms of debt that we have come across with those individuals that are 60 plus are credit card debt. That is probably the number one form of debt for retirees. Fortunately, those high interest credit card rates are above 20% right now. And according to that same AARP study, they found that 38% of those age 60 and above struggle with that credit card debt. Another common form of debt is with your mortgage, okay? Average mortgage payment right now in today's world is $1,672 a month. So something that if you can get that paid off before retirement, that's a big win. Other forms of debt that we commonly see for those retirees are personal loans or car payments, okay? So those are some of the main forms of debt. Now, what are some ways that we can go about reducing those debt obligations and getting out of debt? So the first way, I'm going to go over 8 different ways, but the first way is going to be just stop accumulating it, okay? So credit cards, that should be the last resort, only for emergencies. That's when you should use credit cards. And if you can avoid it, by all means, avoid it. So stop accumulating that debt. Number 2, reduce your expenses. So go through a budget. If you don't have a budget, create one. Okay, sit down and go over, okay, what are my income sources versus what are my expenses? Go line by line. Determine what you absolutely have to have and then what you don't really need and you can do without. Anything that you can do without, take it out of the budget and allocate those funds to paying off other debt. Option 3, look into reverse mortgages. Okay, now there are some bad circumstances out there with reverse mortgages, so make sure you check into that and you meet with a financial advisor or someone that does reverse mortgages very frequently, because there are upsides and downsides to that. But you've been paying on that home for your whole life probably, and you have equity build up in that. You could use that. Okay. Another option would be, well, take a look at maybe getting a part-time job. Okay. If income is running short and you need something to supplement that and make payments on those debt, Well, find that part-time job. It's very common for a retiree to do something that they've always loved just on a part-time basis. Another option is maybe looking at the cash value side of that whole life insurance policy that you have out there. We've come across many clients where they've been paying on this whole life policy for 20, 30 years plus, and they've got a decent cash value side left on that. And the death benefit isn't really the greatest, and maybe they don't even need that death benefit. So you could take that cash value side of that whole life policy and maybe use that to pay off debt. Another option, finally, would be maybe tapping into your retirement accounts. Now, recently we just had a case where a client, their mortgage payment was mortgage interest was north of 6%. Okay, so it's pretty high, and with interest rates the way they are today, it's not unheard of, right, to have that high mortgage interest. Well, if they had in their IRA more of like a safe bucket of money that was earning only 3 to 4%, well, that mortgage is costing them 6%, right? So it worked out in their case that we took a portion of their retirement assets that wasn't earning as much, 3 to 4%, and we used those funds to pay off that mortgage and effectively save them 2 to 3% in interest payments. So there's lots of different ways that you can go about reducing your debt obligation. Make sure if you've got questions on your debt and ways to reduce it, please don't hesitate to reach out and give us a call on the number on the screen.
Your grandchildren are precious to you. They are your life. This is your time to have that special relationship. Taking care of yourself is taking care of them. Centennial Wealth Advisory is offering a free, no-obligation retirement review to make sure you don't run out of money during your retirement. Centennial Wealth Advisory. Your best is yet to come.
Hi, my name is Jack Klunder, and I am a financial advisor with Centennial Wealth Advisory. I work out of our Cadillac office, and we specialize in retirement planning. We take a very holistic approach. We can help go through all the different aspects of planning that are involved in retiring well. So if you are nearing or in retirement and you have questions that you want to go over, please give the number on the screen a call, and we can have and set up a free, no-obligation consultation.
You made it. Years of hard work, investing, planning, and now you're here. The long-awaited reward you spent a lifetime looking forward to. But what now? After years of growing a nest egg, now you may want to manage it. Use it to fund your dreams. Make it last as long as you need it. And leave some for those you love. So what do? Wall Street continues to be uncertain, and some conservative options have dropped through the floor. How do you maintain opportunities for growth and reduce risk of loss from market changes? That's where we come in. We are financial professionals. From investments and insurance products to tax reduction strategies and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, provided by the claims-paying ability of insurance companies. You've worked a lifetime to get here. Let us help you enjoy it to the fullest. For a complimentary consultation, simply contact us today.
Living life isn't always easy. It puts up challenges and obstacles you'll have to overcome. There are responsibilities. You put in effort to provide and take care of your family, and to save and invest, to balance work and life. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
I was reading an article recently, and I come across a quote that I had seen before but kind of had forgotten about, and I thought it was so timely. Warren Buffett, one of his more famous quotes said, he says, "You only find out who is swimming naked when the tide goes out." And I chuckled to myself when I read this, and I thought more about it, and I thought, wow, That's so true. Now again, you can read into the quote and chuckle again about it and kind of get the visual as the tide is going out at a busy beach, what that may look like. But from an investment perspective, and this is what, when he talked about that, obviously relating it back to investments, what that means. When the tide is in and the water's covering up, everybody's bodies and stuff like that, kind of think of that as the good times. When the tide's up, everything is good. There's swimming, there's fun, there's enjoyment. The sea life is living but below that, and everything is good. Think of that with good economic times. Businesses are thriving, individuals are thriving, credit maybe is cheap, and people are buying what they want, taking vacations, businesses are hiring people, profits are soaring, all those sort of things. The times are good. So it's easy, if you will, to make money and to do that. Investing, most everything's going up when those times are good, stuff like that idea. So when that tide starts to recede and starts to go out, what happens then? It starts to pull stuff back. The water line lessens and it starts to reveal what's happening, right? And it starts to reveal the shoreline more. The people, start to get exposed and it starts to show the kind of the rest of the story. So think of that like the economy. The economy is going out. It's not as good anymore. Businesses are struggling, maybe laying people off. Investments aren't doing so well, not spending as much money, not taking those trips. Maybe cuts are happening, so you have to cut at home as well, and starting to tighten the belt a little bit. So the point of this is when times are good, stuff tends to be covered up. When we have 20/20 vision looking back, think, it's easy to do that. Easy to make money, right? Everything seems a little bit rosier and that sort of thing. But when that tide goes out, now is when it gets challenging, gets exposed. Maybe people that were taking on too much risk get exposed a little bit because you didn't notice that when the tide was up. Maybe those businesses that were over leveraged a little bit, or even those individuals that had too much credit going out. When that tide goes out, that gets exposed and gets hard again. So that, when we think of that, think of that quote when you're looking at your individual finances. Start asking yourself, am I over leveraged right now? Times have been pretty good. What if times contract a little bit? Can I still pay for all these things? My investments. I've been doing okay recently. Times have been decent. What if that changes at some point? Am I taking on too much risk? Oftentimes when times are really good, people tend to, their risk tolerance goes up a little bit. Well, yeah, because when my money's going up, I don't think so much about losses. So my risk tolerance might start to creep up a little bit. And maybe my investments, I've got a little bit more risky, but you got to still ask that question. And what am I comfortable losing? Now is a great time to get a risk assessment on your portfolio. When's the last time you had that done? Here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, one of the things we can do is take an existing portfolio that you have, existing an account statement, something like that has what you're holding and invested in, and break that down and get behind that and learn what is that breakdown, what is the risk that you're taking, what are the costs, all that sort of stuff, and starting to get that true risk assessment so you know where you stand if the tide does go out on you. And again, from a timing perspective, where are you at in that retirement planning journey? Are you coming up or nearing retirement? If so, that risk assessment's ever more important. You don't want that tide to go out right before your retirement or even a few years before your retirement. It can massively change the outcome of what that looks like and maybe even force you to go back to work longer than you want to. So all these sort of things, think of Warren Buffett. He's got some great one-liners out there, obviously. I think this is one of the better ones. Again, we find out who's been swimming naked when the tide goes out. Don't get caught swimming naked when your retirement tide goes out. Give us a call at the number on the screen here. Let's sit down, at least do a risk assessment, walk through what you have, what that looks like, and maybe how you can best position yourself as you plan to retire well.
The biggest concerns that clients have when they come to see us is usually the fear of the unknown. When they're heading into retirement, there is so many uncertainties that they're going to face, not only financially, but with time, with insurances, with taxes.
You figure you've got one chance to do it and you better do it right.
With that fear of unknown, they're looking for somebody to walk alongside them in this journey and to guide them along the way.
Retirement's like 20 to 30 years of unemployment, so you need to have a plan in place to generate that income.
We can help eliminate some of those unknowns and give them the confidence that they're going to be able to succeed in the goals they want to do in retirement.
We want you to have your finances in order so that that's more of an afterthought, more of something that you say, well, that's what our team at Centennial Wealth Advisory is there to take care of.
Too often, our industry focuses on the tools that are available in mutual funds and stocks and bonds, and oftentimes the industry wants to start with a product. We believe here that you should focus on the individual's goals first. What do you want to do in retirement? What does that look like to you? Then what strategies do we need to implement to make those goals become a reality?
So often we find that our clients love spending time with their family, with their grandchildren. Here in northern Michigan, people love to be outside and enjoy kayaking or biking or hiking in the warmer months, sometimes in the winter months as well, out snowshoeing. Our hope at Centennial Wealth Advisory is to help you open up those opportunities to go and enjoy your retirement.
As a financial advisor, it's not just my job to manage just your money. It's my job to understand who you are as a person, your personal relationships, your aspirations and goals, and so I can help create a plan that ties your financial future with your personal future and all of those goals.
You want to retire, you get one opportunity to retire, and you want to do it right the first time. Our role here at Centennial Wealth Advisory is to help walk you through that entire process and ultimately help you plan to retire well.
If you are retired or soon to be retired, let us help you plan to retire well. Centennial Wealth Advisory specializes in retirement planning and has offices in Traverse City, Gaylord, Petoskey, and Cadillac. We'll never pressure anyone to become a client. Our goal is to inform and educate. Simply schedule a meeting at one of our Northern Michigan offices for a free, no obligation retirement review.
There are a variety of factors that determine your financial future. So I'm going to walk through with you maybe 5 key ones that you want to consider, and it comes down to well-informed decisions are vital to a successful retirement plan. So let's start off first with the role of chance. So luck can definitely play a factor to a certain extent. It might be, say, the timing of your retirement, or the investment performance, or market conditions. So there's a lot of those pieces that we don't know. We can't predict the future, and so we're trying to do our best guesstimate of, okay, how to best structure this to have the highest probability of success. But again, there's certain investments out there that you'd look at and say, well, I didn't think that particular company would do as well from the stock market perspective and have that type of growth, but that happens. Second, there's factors obviously beyond chance. So you want to take different proactive measures when it comes to your retirement plan. You want to evaluate all of your different account options. You may want to consider different fixed interest rates for a portion of the overall portfolio. So you may not want to go into retirement solely relying on what the stock market is doing. You may want to have some type of balanced approach where, yeah, you have some money out there that's at risk that may have the greater possibility of higher returns, but you may want to have a portion that's protected as well. Because if you think back to the early 2000s and you factor in, say, if you had $100,000 invested and looked, beginning January 1st of 2000, you would have experienced essentially about a drop in half of the S&P 500 from 2000, 2001, 2002. Then you saw it bounce back up, and then you had 2008 drop down again. So your 100,000 in all reality, maybe somewhere in 2011, you would have been still at $100,000. So you want to take that into consideration and not put all your eggs in one basket. Third, portfolio strategies. You want to maybe minimize your downside risk exposure when it comes to retirement planning. Likely the results are going to be lower average returns, but it may be crucial for you to have retirement success. You take the basic example of $100,000 loses 50%, now you're at $50,000. You have to have a 100% return to get back to $100,000. Meanwhile, 100,000 loses, say, 10%. Now you need a little greater than an 11% return to get back to your 100,000. So take that into consideration when it comes to your risk and risk tolerance. Fourth is managing cash flows and behavior. So retirement comes down to cash flow. I mean, it's looking at what is your income versus what are your expenses. So often people come to us here at Centennial Wealth Advisory and it's, well, what's the magic number of how much I have to have saved for retirement? And that's going to be different for everyone based on what your needs are. So you want to make thoughtful adjustments rather than emotional decisions based on short-term market conditions. So a lot of times people will see, oh, the market had a bad 6-month stretch, let's say, and all of a sudden, oh, we're going to change everything. That's that emotional reaction where over the long run, you try to cut out some of the emotions and see that it's a 20, 30-year time horizon that you may be working with when it comes to your retirement plan. Lastly, maybe consider alternative retirement income approaches. A lot of times we'll hear from folks where, hey, we might put all of our money in dividend-paying stocks, but there's an inherent level of risk that comes with that. There's rate changes that occur. There's different dividend cuts that may happen. So you want to be cautious of that. It might be a piece of the overall plan, but you may not want to solely rely on that. You consider interest payments. Now with interest rates being a bit higher, there's CDs, there's treasury bills, there's different fixed annuities that are paying higher interest rates that you may want to consider. Sometimes you may want to set up different lifetime income streams from annuities, or perhaps you'll consider rental properties as a piece of your overall mix. So as I mentioned earlier, well-informed decisions are vital to a successful retirement outcome. And if you're looking at your overall retirement plan, questioning if you have all those pieces in place, we'd welcome you to give us a call for a no-obligation second opinion.
If you like watching Retiring Well, make sure to go to youtube.com/retiringwell. and click the subscribe button to never miss any of our TV shows and other informative videos.
Are you nearing retirement or in retirement? Have you had your portfolio just looked at or have a second opinion on that portfolio recently? Centennial Wealth is a full-service advisory firm, and we have multiple locations in northern Michigan. I'm in the Gaylord office primarily. The office is right downtown Gaylord. Also up in the Petoskey office as well. That office is right off of 31. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to sit down and chat, and it's a free, no-obligation consultation, so just call the number on the screen.
One of the draws for me to transition from teaching to this job was that one of the platforms we have is a weekly TV show. And every single week we get to get in front of a lot of people and inform them about what's out there, what markets do, what products are available, what services we offer. And so it's teaching, and we're constantly teaching, and it's no cost. And so I love that piece of it, is that what we're doing outside of our daily work is that we're also continually trying to add value to the people of northern Michigan through our TV show. And there was a conference that I went to. It was in Hawaii. It was awesome. AE put it on, and we went to a sunrise service put on by some local Hawaiians, and they said one of their daily activities is to learn something new and give it away. That was a part of their culture. And when I heard that, I thought, that is so cool. And a lot of times that's what we get to do. We get to learn something new, and then we get to give it away for free. I think it's an awesome, transition from teaching to teaching, just in different platforms.
So after age 50 and especially after age 65, you may be able to qualify for some additional tax breaks. So let's walk through some of those. There's especially the bigger standard deduction after you reach age 65. So it's in 2022, that was an additional $1,400 each, or $2,800 for a married couple. If you have a lower income, there may be some different tax credits available for you if you're under probably approximately $25,000 for a married household. And at age 50, you can start contributing an additional $1,000 into your IRA or Roth IRA for a total of $7,000 in 2022. Meanwhile, you have 401k, 403b, 457. You have what's called catch-up contributions, where you can do an additional $6,500, ultimately to max out at $27,000 per year in 2022. Another key age is age 59 and a half, where the 10% early withdrawal penalty for taking withdrawals out of your IRA or other qualified plans goes away. So again, that key age for you is 59 and a half, where that opens things up. Meanwhile, one thing to be aware of is it doesn't prevent you from converting from IRA to Roth prior to 59 and a half, but you'd want to be careful of how you're paying the taxes for that Roth conversion. So you'd want to talk to a professional about that. If you leave your job at age 55 or older and you still have a 401k plan with that employer, it does open up opportunities where you can start taking withdrawals from that plan without penalties. Another area is qualified charitable distribution. So beginning at age 70 and a half, you have the ability to give any amount up to $100,000 from your IRA, and there's no tax implication. So if you're already, say, receiving the standard deduction and not getting a write-off for any charitable distributions that you're doing, a smart way to consider is maybe taking that money from your traditional IRA or taxable dollars and gifting that, which is then a non-taxable event for you, as well as a non-taxable event for that church or charity that's receiving those funds. Another piece is at age 55 and above, you can increase your HSA or health savings account contributions by $1,000 up to $4,650 in 2022, which would then allow you some future tax-free distributions from the health savings account down the road. So again, there's a lot of different tax breaks and things that you want to be made aware of, and I'm curious if you know of all of those different advantages. If not, you're welcome to give us a call here at Centennial Wealth Advisory.